Aloha and welcome to your breathwork facilitator training. Thank you everybody for joining Nalu for your breathwork teacher training. Mahalo for joining us. I'd just like to share a little bit about how Nalu breathwork was formed, how we come to be here today training in breathwork. So my journey started 25 years ago when I trained in the UK to be a reflexologist and a clinical aromatherapist. Not long after that, both me and my husband had not been long married. Me and my husband decided to go travelling. We travelled for 3 years virtually, spending quite some time in Asia and also in New Zealand and Australia. And it was whilst travelling in Thailand that I first came across traditional Thai bodywork, which really helped me to start understanding how the mind and the body is all connected. Now bear in mind I'd done quite a bit of anatomy and physiology in my training for aromatherapy and reflexology, which was absolutely amazing and gave me a lot of knowledge. However, it had still not quite clicked for me how the mind and body is connected, and if the mind is out, the body is out, and if the body is out, the mind is out. But when I trained in Chiang Mai in traditional Thai massage, or lazy yoga as I like to call it, the penny dropped. I really started to understand how the mind is all connected with the body, and if we're taking care of one but not the other, this starts to happen. We become out of balance or out of huna. In Hawaii we say halakalai, and which means imbalance or in huna, and vice versa. If we take care of the other, so if we take care of the mind but not the body, this starts to occur again. We get out of balance. Now everybody, I'm sure, would love to live the life in complete balance, in complete huna, where the mind and the body is in homeostasis, as it is when we are born generally. Now throughout life, of course, we have ups and downs. Of course, throughout life we have ups and downs, ebbs and flows, waves coming in, waves going out, and that can never stop. That is part of life, and that is part of our journey in life. However, what working on the mind and body and connection does, it helps us to deal with these issues, to deal with these ebbs and flows, ups and downs, ifs and buts, maybes, whatever you want to call it. And so just going back to Thailand, that really set me off on a quest, if you like, in my life, to find out more about how the mind and body works. Moving the clock forward, we went back to the UK. We had to leave Australia, and then we came back to Australia to emigrate 16 years ago. And this is where I first came across Lomi Lomi, Hawaiian massage or Hawaiian bodywork. I did some training over 12 years ago on the Sunshine Coast with a beautiful trainer. She's now retired from teaching, and which really gave me the hunger and the calling, I would say, really, to go to Hawaii myself and find out more. So I spent a month in Hawaii, did a mastership in Hawaiian Lomi Lomi, and it was whilst in Hawaii that I first came across breathwork as a separate modality to using it in massage. So in Lomi Lomi, Hawaiian massage, or kahuna as some people may know it, we use the breath. We use the breath to energize ourselves, but we also use the breath to let energy go as well whilst we're doing the body work. I'd been using the breath in my massage practice for a number of years, but then when I went to Hawaii, I went on a retreat and did a mastership in. So whilst in Maui, I experienced my first full breathwork session. and I can honestly say I cried like a baby. The wonderful thing is I didn't actually know what to expect, and I think for me that was good, because it really helped me to let go without really consciously knowing what would happen. Now sometimes when we're aware of what's going to happen, we go into the head, and this really helps me to let go. I completely let go, cried like a baby, I roared, I rolled around, and remember, and I had a beautiful soul, God rest his soul, is passed on now, a beautiful soul, a beautiful Kumu that helped me and guided me through the breath work, and I will always be forever grateful to him. It changed my life. I can honestly say afterwards all I wanted to do is hold the Kumu and just really show my love to him, because I knew I felt different. I'd never really opened up and cried like that before. And just to give you a bit of an idea, at this stage in my life I had been grieving for over 10 years. I couldn't have children, medically couldn't have children, and have a wonderful marriage. However, not being able to be a mum or to give the gift of life to your husband is was heartbreaking. So moving on, I thought I'd dealt with this, and thought at the time that life was pretty good. You know, I had my own business at the time and was getting to a point of burnout within the business. I had up to 8 therapists working for me at any one time in a massage practice in Harvey Bay. But knew something was going to change. I could just tell after the breathwork session. I drove down to a little beach and just sat. It was a quiet beach. There were a couple of people out surfing. The waves were pretty high actually, I remember, and I just sat there and just knew that I felt different. Something had gone. The only way I can explain this is that for many years, for 10 years, I'd had this feeling in here. And the only way I can describe it was it felt empty. It felt like a hole. Anybody that's grieved or suffered with grieving, which many of us have, and it's a process for everybody, it's different for everybody. But this was the only way I could describe it, is that there was this hole in here, this emptiness. And yeah, I was still having fun, I was enjoying my life, but it was there. And I guess I'd got to a point where I thought, this is just the way things are going to be. That is going to be there for the rest of my life. But I can honestly say, when I was sat there on the beach, nobody around me, didn't know a soul, a couple of people out surfing, I took a breath in and let the breath out and looked around me. And things looked different. Everything seemed quite sparkly. It felt a little bit trippy, really. I was looking around, the ocean was sparkling, which it does when the sun's on it, of course, but this was towards the end of the day. It was probably 4:30, 5 o'clock. The sand was glistening, the sky just had these sparkles going on. I even looked at my skin and I thought, my skin even looks sparkly. And I thought, wow, what has this breathwork done to me? This is amazing. I just felt so good physically, but mentally. And then something triggered it and I thought, oh my goodness, that hole, that emptiness that was there had gone, completely gone. And being a bit of a, what's the word, skeptic, being a bit of a skeptic, I thought, oh, it'll probably come back in time, whatever, just enjoy the moment, enjoy this glistening, this beautiful feeling that was around me. Now bear in mind, this was only one session of breath work, so this is how powerful it can actually be. Imagine if you've done a whole series of 3 to 4 sessions, but thought, oh well, yeah, enjoy this moment. And I realised as time went on that that hole never came back, and it's still not there now. And I really truly believe that that's when I really have healed. I thought I'd been through the healing process before, but I will be always forever grateful because it has changed my life. So after that moment, I knew I was coming back to Australia. I still had my business to run, but I knew there were things that needed to change then, and that I really wanted to share the power of this breath work that I'd experienced in the island of Maui with my clients. So that's really, in a nutshell, how we came to Nalu Breathwork. Just skipping forward a little bit, I sold the practice in Hervey Bay, moved away down to the Gold Coast. Both me and my husband moved south and started to teach then the massage. I realised that I'd gone into a point in my life where it was time to share the knowledge that I'd gained over the years of being a massage therapist, and also to start to really look into the breathwork more. So I started to do more studies, including some Wim Hof study, Soma breathwork, JP Crimmy from America, a number of mentors I've used along the way to really deepen my knowledge and understanding, because at this stage I'd had the experiences. I could relate it to using it with my clients within massage, within Lomi Lomi, but it was all floating around here, and I just knew at that point that there was something bigger that I was going to be involved in. So over the next 18 months, Nalu Breathwork was created and born, and I've since then been sharing this in retreat style and training course style. So we've done many retreats where people come to us and just experience breathwork and experience the bowl of light, which is an Hawaiian philosophy or an Hawaiian healing modality, as I like to say. And saw some massive transformations for people, and just realised that this really is something that needed to be shared. And this was pre the pandemic. So started putting together a workshop where people could actually learn to use the breath work within their practice, so they can start to help their clients, their massage clients, on a much deeper level than they'd ever helped them before. And from there we developed the retreat, where it is teacher training retreat, and that's really where we're at now. We're at a stage where we're still sharing Nalu Breathwork with people in Australia, in Europe as well, and now this next year or so in Thailand. But we've also created the online version. Anybody that's Australia based or been to Australia will understand that it's a big country, and we have a lot of people out west, but also a lot of people out back and lots of towns, and some people which I'll be forever grateful for them to making the effort to do this, have flown in interstate to learn from us and to share the breath work with me and our other facilitators. But not everybody's in a position to do that. So this is really why the online course has been born, so that we can start to share this modality, not just with people on the coast and that have easy access to an airport, to people that are living further out, in Australia particularly, but also to my family and friends that are living in the UK and around Europe. After the pandemic, I really had a calling to go back to the UK, and we have done just recently. But it was a calling really, because I felt that it was time to share some of the knowledge that we'd learnt in Hawaii and in Australia with our fellow POMs, our fellow English people. So also this is for you guys that's based in the UK. I really hope that you can share this with as many people as you can, even if you're not doing this as a job or sharing this as a job, but just really even if you can use the breath for yourself, which can start to affect your own family, and then your own family starts to affect the next circle, which is the people that are outside of your family. And what does that do? The people that are outside of your family start to affect the community as well, and the community then affects the town, and it creates that beautiful ripple effect. And that's really all I'd like to see happen, is that people start to use and learn and understand the power of our own breath. The beautiful thing about the breath is it's available to anybody, any person that is living. Now there are some contraindications, which means there are certain times when somebody wouldn't do any breath work, which we will go into later in the programme. But anybody that is breathing is using breath work anyway, because you're breathing. However, it's changing it from automatic breathing, autonomously breathing, to consciously breathing, so that you're aware of the breath. So you're aware of where the breath is coming from, where the breath is going, but also how it's having an effect on your body and your mind, which, as we've said, starts to have an effect on people outside of your circle as well. So without further ado, guys, we will get straight into our first module. Just like to quickly go through how the training course is set for online. So most of this has been recorded at our retreats, our live retreats. So it's live training, a lot of it. We've just added little bits in that we happen to miss or forgot to set the camera or whatever may have happened. So it's live training mostly, and I invite you to really start to practice breath work on a daily basis. It's got to be a ritual. If you want to start helping other people and share the breath with other people and help them on their healing journeys, then you have to go through the healings yourself. Now, I'm not saying do 500 hours of breath work before you start to share it. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to understand and have experienced some of the feelings that the breath work can bring up before you can start to share it. So a really nice idea, what I recommend in the retreats, is to create your own breathwork diary. So just it can be an old jotter piece of paper if you wish. But it's nice if you buy yourself a nice journal and start at the beginning of your breathwork journey. And just really make notes such as how many minutes you did consciously breathed for. Now, a lot of this might not make sense at the moment because you're not aware of what the different styles of breath, but once we get into the modules, you'll understand this more. But make notes of what style of breath that you were doing. So you might have been doing slow healing breath. You may have been breathing into the heart space. You may have been doing conscious wave breathing. You may have been doing walking breathing. You may have been doing breathing with your meditation, with your exercise. So anything like that, make a note of. Make a note of the times, how long you've actually done that breathing for. And I also like to say, make a note of how you felt at the beginning. So you can do it on a number score if you like, 1 to 10. 1 being pretty crappy and 10 you're feeling great anyway, and then do a score afterwards. I'm not great with numbers, so I don't do that. I usually just put a word, how I actually felt that morning. So if I felt groggy, I'd write groggy. If I woke up feeling a little bit sad, then I would write feeling sad. If I woke up feeling energised, I'd write energised. And then I would also write how I felt after the breath work as well. And then you can add a third column and write at the end of that day how you were feeling then. You will start to notice a massive pattern occurring that if you do wake up tired, groggy, sad, whatever, after the breath work you certainly feel a lot better, but by the end of the day you come back to it and you realise that you've actually had a pretty good day to say that you woke up feeling a bit groggy or tired or whatever. So really important to do, and it's so good to look back on. Really, really is. So good to look back on 2 or 3 months down the line when you've started to do, even if you're only doing 5 minutes breath work a day, even if you're only doing 2 minutes a day, you will notice a difference. I can guarantee it. I really can. So very quickly, the online training is set out so that you've got different modules. Each module is a lesson. You will have to complete that lesson to be able to go on to the next lesson. If you miss any of the lessons, you won't get to the end and pass, and you will have to go back and find which one you've not actually completed. So in effect, when I say completed, it means listening to the whole video, also downloading anything that we're suggesting. So there will be meditations and breathwork sessions for you to download. But also towards the end, we will ask you to do a live video, only a short live video, but that's towards the end, and it's just really so that we can see that you have an understanding of what you're doing. So we're not nitpicking, but we're just looking to ensure that you have an understanding of what you're doing before you start to go and share. We do ask you to have done at least 60 hours of personal breathing, which might sound a lot, but it's not. If you start to do 5 minutes now every day, but then increase that to 30 minutes every day. Some people are doing 2 sessions a day, morning and night. So you can imagine 2 months you could actually have it completed. Now, I'm not saying race at it and do that. It's better really the slower you go, as in 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. But that's more than enough. And I can honestly say you'll go through a transformation in your life as well by the end of that 60 hours, and that's really where we get you. Again, once you go through the training, you'll see in one of the modules we show you the levels of what's happening when you do your first session, your second session, your third session, and then from there onwards the type of the breathwork that we're sharing with you is a lot of heart-based work. We usually say that by that third session that you're on your way to bliss, and that really is when everything starts to change for you. That is when you start to look out and you notice how blue the sky is, how green the trees are, how everything's sparkly. It almost gets to the point where your hearing is turned up. Mine certainly has. I hear things now that I never heard before. You know, I hear the whisper in the trees, and part of it is learning to listen, which we will go through as well, and also part of it is learning to stum when needed as well. So enjoy each module, guys, and we do have a Facebook group that you can join where you can ask questions and you can contact by messenger. Please note, we're all on different time zones here, so if we don't answer anything within 12 hours, please give us time. 24 to 48 hours really is the turnaround, in case we're in a different country, but also if we are in a retreat and our facilitators are in retreats, our admin staff may not be able to answer your question. So they will wait, rather than answer anything wrong, they will wait until myself or one of the other facilitators is out of their retreat so we can answer you genuinely and honestly. So please allow and give us time to come back to you. It's not that we're ignoring you. We don't do that. When we're working from the heart space, we're here to help you and to share our love and aloha with you. So mahalo everybody for joining us for your teacher training in Nalu Breathwork, and we look forward to sharing this journey with you. Mahalo.